investors don't focus on the business side of real estate. They might focus on fixing and flipping, or they might focus on buy and hold investing, or a multifamily side, or different brokerage activities, but they're not necessarily focusing on all of the different business systems that need to go into running a successful real estate business. They might be technicians in one piece, or contractors and know that side, or know how to find deals, but they're not seeing the entire full picture. And this is why most real estate investors fail, because of the fact that they don't have these outside systems in place. I have friends of mine that flip massive amounts of properties, do crazy volume, and I was actually helping them with their own financial statements, and they're having me go through their balance sheets and income statements and understanding that side of things. And they had properties on their balance sheet that had already been sold in previous years, meaning they claimed the income but not the expenses associated with the cost of the property, and paid way more money in taxes. After I pointed that out, they had to go back and amend tax returns and things like that. And that's just one small element, of the business side of things that occurs, right? You have that's the accounting side. That's one piece of the accounting side as well that goes into this. So let's go over some of the key elements that you should know as a business owner in real estate. If you're actually focused on, real estate, or this actually applies to other people as well, and other business owners, and some of the key elements that you should be focusing on as an entrepreneur to develop the systems for, so that you can automate those things, because doing business right can be very, very time consuming, can cost a lot of extra money, and you don't want to be doing all of the different pieces of it yourself, because you'll end up in a bad situation. You're not going to be proficient at all those activities, and it's probably not the highest and best use of your time as a business owner by doing some of these activities. That there are professionals that are proficient in it, and you can focus on making higher level activities. So the first one is the outlining the different processes of your business. So there's a really cool website called sweetprocesses.com that actually will help you outline your entire processes. So start out with your end to end revenue generation process. What do you start with? So if you're fixing and flipping, you're going to go through and outline every piece of that process in and understand what are the key elements that go into that from the different business pieces that exist. So let's go over some of those business pieces. So the first piece is the accounting element, and you have the bookkeeping piece of this. So budget versus actual on your flip. You might have budget versus actual on your buy and hold property. You have, monthly accounting that's occurring, some volatility, and reviewing that stuff, reviewing your vacancy allowance, reviewing all of your expenses and everything, understanding that everything was paid correctly. You have to be tracking that and tracking your balances in your bank account consistently, and putting buckets of cash together for different projects, right? Making sure you have enough capital for those projects is absolutely key, of course. And it can be very difficult if you're commingling your personal and your business expenses, because you're trying to make sure you have enough money for a deal. And so you dip into your personal funds to do so, but then you're struggling over here to survive, and you can't do it, and you can't do that deal without the funds too. The better way to do it would be to keep 12 months of personal expenses aside and never invest that, because real estate can be volatile, and you might get paid every 6 to 8 months on these if you're not wholesaling. And so you could have issues with that. So you want to be able to make sure you have that money aside, and being able to go through and bring in outside money for those projects to complete them instead. So these little things, having those 12 months of reserves for you and the business, parts of that accounting process that should be managed correctly, of course. Now, you also have 1099s, you have all of that kind of stuff that you have to deal with, the tax side of things as well. So, and the second piece of this, other than accounting, is the legal side, right? The operating agreements that you have to put together, understanding proper tax and liability protections and why you use different entities for different purposes is absolutely key. Understanding if you're doing a fund, your private placement memorandums, your rights and your provisions inside the operating agreements, and understanding joint venture contracts and all of those types of contract law, so that that you are set up correctly, you're protected correctly, you have the right tax structures and all of that kind of stuff in place too. So, and there's understanding the laws in the different markets and the different states, and understanding that there's different attorneys also in these different states is absolutely key for you guys being able to see who your team members are going to be. So you have a different eviction attorney that you have for a contract attorney than you have for a syndication attorney or a legal lawsuit attorney. So there's people that specialize in these different activities. There's people that also specialize in the tax side. So that tax side is the next key element of this, doing quarterly reviews with your CPAs and 1099 and 98 reporting, and getting your right K1s for your entities and things like that together. And the proper liability protection coupled with that tax side is absolutely key. So getting your attorneys and your CPAs to think together is key. Doing your payroll correctly and making sure that you're taking proper withholding out, so that way your stuff is done correctly and you're not getting fine penalties, and you make your payments correctly. It's highly important, in my opinion, to get an outside CPA that does this stuff for your business, but one that communicates with you. So these team members have to be absolutely key. They should be referred or come from somebody who has experience in that space that they've had success with. So, and then you have the liability side, right? The insurance side as well. So you have general liability insurance with your business as a whole. You also have property insurance, and you got to watch out for those exclusions and things like that. You have, when you're dealing with contractors, you have workers' comp insurance and potential employment liability insurance. And then there's also cyber insurance that, if you're handling sensitive information or concerned about, hacking, it's a matter of when that will happen, not if that will happen now, right? So you also have the marketing components. Do you have your marketing plan, put together? Do you have your content creation plan put together? What are the different outsources and distribution channels are you going to put out there? Who are you going to get in place to be able to help create that content, help be able to put that system in place, and help track it with the right key performance indicators and funnels and things like that you have to put together for having a proper marketing system. In addition to that, you have the sales system on top of the marketing system that needs to be in place, because you can have all the marketing you want. If you don't have the sales system in place, you're going to be in deep trouble as well. You have to have somebody answering the phones in that position that understands what's happening, answering questions and emails and communicating, tracking the progress of all of your lead flow, tracking where they're coming from and things like that, and being able to have a proper lead nurture system in place as well for that business. So the next piece, the big piece, is human resources and managing other people. You would think that this would be simple and not a big item, but at the end of the day, managing other people and setting expectations is the way to grow your business the fastest. And so having the right infrastructure in place and, holding people accountable, having the right employee reporting and compliance reporting from the different people that are working for you, even if they're joint venture partners or partners of yours, setting the expectations on what you want to see in reporting to make you happy up front is very, very key, because then you don't have any miscommunications with what the expectations are, and you're able to get exactly what you want. And if you're not getting what you want, then you can explain that you set those expectations up front. And if you're still not getting it, you can, move on from those different people that are weighing you down in different ways. Okay. So understanding how to protect yourself with employees, and, having proper segregation of duties. The biggest theft is employee theft. So having the proper segregation of duties so that, you don't have the same person handling accounts receivable and accounts payable, and being able to control all the bank accounts at the same time, all of those types of things should be separated into categories, if especially if you're dealing with multiple projects that you need to get, a handle on, that's difficult to do sometimes. So these are some of the key things that I think are extremely important to understand when you are running a business, especially in real estate, so that you can actually be able to, succeed. And having the right people in the right seats to do so is the way to your success. You can't expect to do everything yourself. You have to put the right people in the right seats to do that for you, and manage the projects and manage the different pieces of the business along with your real estate projects, so that you can be successful long term. So I hope this helped you guys. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell if you guys like this content. I'll be coming out with real estate tips and tricks consistently for you. And let me know what you guys think in the comments. Very, very appreciative of your time.